You're listening to Power Talks with Beth Ann and Melody Cedarstrom in the morning, where talk is real, truth is in the talk, and there is power in truth. Welcome this morning as we host together, trying to empower you with some truth on this Monday morning. Good morning, Melody.
Good morning to you and good morning, listeners. It's great to be here, and I heard you had a great open mic Friday, and
I don't want to make you jealous, but we did really well.
Oh, okay, yes. Come on, listeners. You're going to have to say, well, we want to call it when Melody's there, too. But
better give the number. 717-300-1218. Make Melody feel good.
Well, actually, and Friday is very important for me here at Discount Gold and Silver Trading because, during the week, during this program, I get, we have shipping we have to do, and it's Friday, and Friday is one of my busiest days here at Discount. So it really is very beneficial for me, and I hate to put it all on Beth, but I do thank you, listeners, for making that day a little easier. It's not easy to do these programs, Beth, and
I know it's we've made an adjustment. Listeners probably don't really care, but we have had to make an adjustment in our schedules as I do back-to-back shows, and Melody does one in the morning and then the afternoon show, and on the days she does my show with me, she does back-to-back shows and then the afternoon show. But there's more to the hour than just the hour. It takes lots of prep time, and we were laughing before we went on the air because prep time seems to be so short on Monday mornings because you've got Sunday, and I was traveling Sunday and had a wedding in the family that I went to. It was a beautiful wedding. It was a beautiful day for it. We were worried it was going to be ugly, but it didn't. It turned out to be lovely, very lovely. Anyway, it's we are here, and we are here for you. So we do value your opinions and your calls at 717-300-1218. I don't know where we want to begin. Do you, Melody?
Well, I'm going to begin with, not only do I do these programs, but I also run a company, Discount Gold and Silver Trading. And so I talk to lots of people in between, during the day, writing orders, making sure everything gets shipped, and we are accurate 100% with all our information. So I want to run a little special today, a 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle. These are modern issue coins, a 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle. And the lowest price I found online was $145, $144. That's if you purchased 100 or more. 100 or more. And my price, when you're dealing with the 1/10 ounce, there's not a whole lot of room you can do in the price because it's 1/10 of an ounce. But we're running our special at $143 for a 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle. So give us a call at 1-800-375-4188. And I know there are times, I don't know if they're still pushing these grams, these gold grams, and that is just one of my pet peeves because they charge an enormous price for a gram. And it's like, I don't understand why you would pay that additional premium for a gram. And I hear people say, well, that's because, we're going to need smaller pieces. Well, then pick up a 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle. You get more gold for your dollar. It's more recognizable and acceptable than any gram that you will find. Most people in this country can barely figure out quarts and pints and ounces and pounds. So how are they going to...
They don't teach cooking anymore.
Yeah, how are they going to figure out what a gram is? So again, they're not recognizable. You can put a little gram in your hand. It's like, well, what's that? But I have a 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle in my other hand. Which would you prefer? Oh, I will take that 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle. So it is important to purchase things that are recognizable and acceptable, and you want to get, you might pay more for a fractional piece, but why pay double more for a gram? It doesn't even make any sense. And they say, well, it's because people who can't afford gold can buy it they can buy gold now. Yeah, but you can also get more gold for your money, and that's just a pitch to get the people to purchase these things. So, and I get the scale where people can sell them and so forth, but I don't think it really works very well that multi-level marketing for gold is usually just the people who present the program that usually make out the best. So,
well, let's give the special again. I wrote it all down, and then I missed it when you told me how much it was.
It was 143. Wake up, Beth.
I know.
$143 for 1/10 ounce American Gold
Got it.
Eagle.
All right, got it. I heard the 40 part.
I don't know what you're not paying attention to me, Beth?
I know I wasn't. I was actually reading an article. I'm sorry. I was.
Well, at least you're honest about that. But
I was a bad friend. Well, I was reading. Did you want to go somewhere else right now?
No.
Okay. I was reading Pat Buchanan's article. Well, it's not his article. It's from an interview that he had with Newsmax, and it says the conservative. He's talking about the Iran deal, and that Trump's move is, as he calls it, a very dicey road. This was on Friday, and he said that the United States is headed down a very dicey road with President Donald Trump's decertification of the Iran nuclear deal. Buchanan, who served in the Nixon and Reagan administrations, told Bill Tucker on Newsmax Now that he agreed with Defense Secretary James Mattis and Secretary of State Rex Tillerson that the Iranians are complying with the deal. I don't agree with that, and I love Pat Buchanan, but I'm fairly certain they're not complying. However, he says the Europeans believe it, the inspectors believe it, almost everyone agrees. I do think we're headed for trouble if Congress were to attempt to reimpose the sanctions that were lifted when Iran signed the deal. If that were the case, we would be on a road to the end of which lies a war between the United States and Iran. Iran has signed a deal and is complying with its terms, as everyone agrees, and I don't think they're going to be bullied into accepting new sanctions or making changes on the demands of the United States. I think we're headed down a very dicey road. I do agree that it's a dicey road. I don't think that just the nature of them, they're not complying. I don't believe they're complying, but how do we change it in the middle of the road? You know, how do you do a U-turn with somebody that's as volatile, or the situation that's as volatile as with Iran? And I really have a lot of respect for Pat Buchanan. I really do. But I think we're between a rock and a hard place with this. And I think, President Barack Obama and Congress put us there. They're the ones that put us there. They handed it over to him and to President Barack Obama, and I think that it is a slippery slope that we're on.
Well, I don't know if they're complying or not, but one thing that was not in the agreement was inspections. So how do you know if they're complying or not? Because they're not allowed to have, they don't want to have any inspections.
Well, they're doing their own, aren't they? They so nobody outside knows what's really going on.
What's really going on, and I heard one person explaining that there was like 3 parts to the completion of being nuclear weaponized, and he says that the agreements only work on like 2 areas, but the enrichment, there was no addressing all 3 parts. It was just addressing 2 parts, and so it really was a bad deal. But you're right. How do you go back in and fix it? How do you turn it around?
Maybe we can have them give the money back. Don't lift the sanctions, but have them give all that money back that we paid.
Oh yeah, okay.
And, I'm just trying.
But they can pull out of the weekend, just pull out of the agreement. But what would the response of Iran be? And that's, they've gotten this far, and of course I do believe they're backers of North Korea, and so you have the rest of the world now that is so ingrained in one another that it's just not dealing with Iran all by itself. There's other factions, and so a very difficult situation.
And I happen to know that, Iran, there's people in Iran that would like to have their country back. Years ago when, during the Carter days here in the United States, Iran got taken over, and they're no longer a free republic. They were a republic before. And there are those there that want to bring that back, and they're kind of, they've been, it's a volatile situation. And there are those that would like to have it back, and there's some of them that are working behind the scenes, trying to finagle their country back, just like we seem to be doing here, as we're so divided right now. But not quite as bad maybe as Iran, but it's really so. We're pretty shaky. We're pretty shaky here. But what we see is in our face all the time, but it's the minority. The majority of the American people don't disrespect the flag. The majority of the American people don't want abortion. The majority of the American people don't want these things. We're being told that that's the truth, but that is not the truth. And so why can't we get it all switched around? That's, another issue for another day, I guess. But anyway, I thought Pat Buchanan's article was very interesting, and I do admire Pat Buchanan a great deal. But I don't necessarily agree that they're complying. But
well, in the books, but
well, I guess they're complying. We pretty much gave them everything, gave them all kinds of leeway. So I guess in that respect, why wouldn't they comply?
Why? Yeah. But without any inspections, So again, it was just a bad deal, and how it got through is amazing. So, Trump is on the right foot trying to fix something that was
he's got so
introduced.
many things to fix. He's got so many things to fix. I saw an article here too that's just real brief. And this could be astronomical. And you mentioned this a few weeks ago when we first started up. They keep saying Trump hasn't done anything, but what he has been doing behind the scenes, and it's really not been behind the scenes, and that's another gripe with Congress, because he has, what was the number? 146 vacancies for federal judge appointees across the nation. And he's giving them 50 so far, and they've only approved 7. But here, this article, it says that President Donald Trump predicted he might appoint a total of 4 Supreme Court justices by the end of his first term. Just think what that would mean. How that would turn things around. What we have going on here in this nation is a culture issue as well. And we've got agendas in the seats of judges across this nation, whether they're federal judges or circuit court judges, that they have an agenda. And they're doing a really poor job of seeing to it that the rule of law is abided by, and that the Constitution is honored. And so, that could be astronomical if he ends up appointing 4 different Supreme Court judges.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think that will be as long as he stays focused and continues to put the conservative judges in those positions. It certainly is. I think some of the biggest wins that this country could have. And
absolutely.
And talking about Iran, I was thinking about the only thing that disturbs me about that is I think prior to the presidency being I guess we'll have to save that until
we'll have to save that. That's our teaser. We're going into a break. Your calls are welcome at 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218. And when we come back, Melody's going to chime in on the Iran deal, and we will be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Despite Nicolas Cage's promise to do his best to get left behind rapture answers for us, don't hold your breath. Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. If you want true Bible prophecy answers, get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. The author exposes the Latin rapture origin, the 7-year tribulation deception, true Bible revelation of Daniel's 70 weeks, the abomination of desolation, the restrainer, America in the Revelation, the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, and the truth about God's chosen people, and so much more about Bible prophecy. This book will shatter the Left Behind paradigm of future events. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
Power Talks with Melanie and Beth Ann in the morning, and Melanie was getting ready to talk a little bit about the Iran deal before we move on to another topic.
Yeah, I was just going to make a comment that, President Trump has done a lot of things. I mean, one of the things that I think he'll accomplish is getting rid of Mitch McConnell. I think that's going to be...
Yeah, I am.
So I'm in on that one. He needs to be gone 30 years, come on. And, his wife is the head of I can't remember which department, the transportation, I believe she's the head of McConnell's wife. And I know that was all a payback in order to help, because that's how it works.
I don't know. I think she's doing pretty good. She's with, is that Department of Interior, or no, Department of Transportation? Is that what it is?
I think it's I can't remember what department. I'm pretty sure it's a transportation, but I'm not 100%. But anyway, regardless, it was a payback, and it doesn't matter if they do a good job. But that's how Washington works. I get that.
Oh, you're right. That's how just the same. It's the same old cards, just shuffled.
Yes, and then that's
it's like shuffling a deck of cards.
Yeah, and that's what we complain about. So. It shouldn't be acceptable in this administration if it's not acceptable in another administration. So, I think you're right. If we can get Mitch McConnell out of there and even Paul Ryan out of there, I think we'll be better off. Yeah, I think their positions are short-lived. But as far as Iran goes, I don't know what Congress can do. It is in their laps. They don't do anything. So we'll probably end up with the same agreement, perhaps. I'm not sure who has the biggest clout here. I mean, when you have, the rest of the world that is supporting this agreement, the European nations and so forth, if they want to support it, well, let them. That's the way I look at it. Let them. So we'll see what Congress does, but as usual, they don't do much of anything.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't, and I think the American people are seeing that, and that if that's the only thing, and I know it's not because we've said that about several different topics, but the American people are seeing that they really don't do it. They campaign for one thing and then they don't do it. Just like repealing Obamacare, there was no reason whatsoever for them not to repeal that. They should have been ready on the spot. Even after the election they had from November to January when he took office, they could have come up with something, but they've been campaigning for how long? Saying we're going to get rid of this, do this and do that, vote us here, vote us there, and we're going to do it. But they don't like President Donald Trump because he's not one of them. And, my biggest fear is he's going to be molded into one of them, and that would be just defeating the purpose of electing an outsider. But I don't know.
I don't think there's no molding. They broke the molds. We have a caller. We have Joe from Arkansas. Good morning, Joe.
Yeah, good morning. I'd like to make a few comments on this Iran deal, if you don't mind. And that's what bothers me about this particularly is that the United States government for so long has been violating, what I thought was the very good advice of George Washington in his farewell address when he said that we shouldn't have entangling alliances with other countries. And he also said at one point that the old world is a hotbed of endless wars and conflicts that we should stay out of. And so, but for a long time, we've been involved in taking so many sides in the various Middle Eastern conflicts and, involved in their endless conflicts there as part of the old world.
Right.
And, I don't like it. I don't see that the United States has any business being so involved. As far as Iran goes, I understand we supported Saddam Hussein in his war against Iran, and that the CIA was involved in overthrowing Mossadegh, I believe, and the Shah, and helping radical Islamic government come to power in Iran. And so, it looks to me like the United States have been meddling in Iran for, too much for too long. And as far as, and I think Obama was wrong. I think the treaty with Iran, the agreement with Iran is very bad that Obama made because Obama is a Muslim, and he deliberately wanted to do something to harm the interests of Israel and help the interests of the Muslims in Iran, because that's his personal bias, and that was bad. And now Trump, I think, is kind of the opposite way. I think he's kind of too much under the influence of these neoconservatives who favor Israel, and they're kind of more Israel first than America first, so that they want policy that's, that favors Israel, even if it's not, that much in America's interests. And I think Trump is kind of too much under their influence. So that's the way things seem to be going now. But what particularly bothers me about this whole Iran situation, what I think is possibly really dangerous about it, is that, as I understand it, Iran has quite a strong alliance with Russia. And so if we get into conflict with Iran, this might bring the Russians into it, and this could be a big deal. So that's my thinking on that. This is why I just don't like the whole situation there.
I agree with you, and I agree with you, and it is a lot deeper, and certainly with the relationship with Russia and Iran, and that's why I think this North Korea deal is going to be difficult, because now you have Iran that is supporting, probably backing North Korea. And China, also said that, hey, if the U.S. drops a first bomb, we're behind North Korea. And so I think perhaps that's why you're hearing the guy in North Korea pretty quiet. Although I guess they're supposedly scheduled to do some missiles or something here soon, but that's what everybody's saying. But he could be very quiet, just waiting for the U.S. to do the next step. Or maybe the conversations with Tillerson is actually working. We don't know, but and Tillerson made a comment today that he's going to keep, doing the open up the lines of keeping the lines of communications open with North Korea until the first bomb drops. So I don't know if that's encouraging or not, but
we appreciate it. We appreciate it, Joe. Thank you so much.
Can I say one more thing about North Korea?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
My idea of best way to handle the North Korea situation is, they say that Kim what's his name? Kim Jong-un, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un. And they say he's a madman, threatens the whole world, all this kind of stuff. And it seems like the people that he would most threaten is the South Koreans. So to my mind, the best way to handle it would be to go to South Korea and interview a lot of plain, ordinary, everyday South Korean people and ask them what they think the situation, what they think the United States ought to do about North Korea, and do that. Because they'd probably have more sense on it than anybody else in the world.
Well, that's a good idea. Fine.
Well,
plain, average, ordinary person on the street in South Korea. I bet they'd know best how to handle this.
I mean, all he wants, well, it's not all he wants. He just wants to be recognized as a nuclear power, and he wants the U.S. out of South Korea. But we're not going to go because there's too much money in South Korea, and so therefore that's the conflict. I think he wants to be recognized as a world. He can't be recognized as a world power, but he wants some of the money. And that feud between the North and the South has never gone away, and it was never really completed, any agreements, any treaties or anything. So we'll see how it goes, but I can't imagine that any leader would want to take this to the next step of a nuclear war. And that's exactly what we'll have.
You wouldn't think so, but and they keep talking about that's where it's turning, and I think that I hope that that's wrong. That we've got to step lightly, I do believe, but not cower. I think we're in this position because we've let them walk all over us, not just Kim Jong-un, but some of these others, and we created the problem in Iran through George Carter, Billy Carter, not Billy Carter either, that was his brother, Jimmy Carter days in the White House. But anyway, appreciate it, Joe. Thank you so very much. But I do have in my hand the North Korea has vowed that a salvo of missiles will be unleashed on Guam. He's making threats, and that it would keep its hands closer to the trigger as U.S. drills begin in South Korea. Reports are indicated that Pyongyang might soon test more missiles. Kim Kwang-hak, a researcher, these are terrible names, a researcher at the Institute of American Studies of North Korea's Foreign Ministry, issued the new threat Friday in an op-ed piece for the regime's official KCNA news agency. He continues to threaten. He's threatening Guam, and of course we had I don't know if you ever saw that on YouTube where that congressman was concerned. They wanted to change the military base on Guam. They wanted to enlarge it. He was worried it might capsize because it was going to be too big on one side and the other. And so here we've got Guam as a target for Kim Jong-un. For some reason, he wants to pick on Guam. And
base there,
yeah. Yeah, that's, but also I think the only thing holding me back right now is China is kind of playing along with the United States, and they are not backing Kim Jong-un as to what he's up to, and they're going to do what profits China. So that's one thing that Haley has been able to convince China that this is in their best interest all the way around, to help us to stop, Kim Jong-un and calm him down and get, So anyway, we'll see how that turns out. I do think that President Donald Trump and the things that he's doing, I do think he's trying to put America first. I think he is trying. I don't necessarily agree with everything he's done or going to do or says. But do you remember Van Jones? He was one of President Barack Obama's czars. I don't remember which czar he was, but he was one of the czars. Do you remember him?
I can't say that I do.
He's a very attractive a black man, very attractive black man, and now he's now he's a talk show host. You know, they go for just, again, the shuffling of the cards, the deck of cards. They're always there somewhere, and he made the statement, and you know, I have to, you know, of course, my mind turns it around. He's claiming that Trump is willing to hurt America just to have his way. It's a very short article. That's pretty much all it was. It was a video of what Van Jones was saying, just to have his way. And I'm looking at this socialistic agenda that's taken over the culture and the morals of this nation. You know, we look at that Beware of the Useful Idiots article, and the 8 planks or the 8 steps to socialize, to make a socialistic state out of the United States of America. They're willing to do anything. They will stand together on everything to change America from a free republic to a socialistic state. And he claims that making America great, just to get that agenda through, or what Trump wants, get his way, as he puts it, he's willing to hurt Americans. And of course, I'm sure that they're referring to the national health care issue and some of the other things that have been on the forefront of the campaign speeches and all that. But he was the green job czar. That's who he was. But yeah,
no wonder I didn't know.
You weren't following that one. He was pretty outspoken. The other czars, I don't remember them doing a lot of talking, but he did. He was kind of out in the forefront quite a bit. Van Jones, but.
Well, you know, let me just say something with what, you know, he makes a comment about, because it is going to hurt. Ever since we went on a fiat currency, ever since they took us off the gold standard, ever since they created all the social programs to get us out of the Depression, ever since we have gone into, and we closed taking us off the silver standard in '64 and closing the gold window in the early '70s, ever since then, this country has been in a decline, with inflation eating away at anybody's savings. Their government is basically stealing from the American people, and here we are today with all these programs, all these problems that the United States has. Our country has basically been gutted. Now, how do you fix it? Do you think we're really going to fix any of our problems and people aren't going to be affected? Hey, people were affected getting to this point. Even when the Affordable Care Act went into law, it affected people and it hurt people with their insurance programs, but you didn't hear anything about that. You know,
no.
We were all lied to.
I guess it depends on which people are you going to hurt.
You know, we were all lied. We were all lied to about the Affordable Care Act. People were hurt the same. So now we're here today, and anything that's done. So if everybody thinks that we can turn this country around and not be hurt by it, all of us hurt by it somehow, some way, is kidding themselves. Now, the outcome might be better. You know, we're doing it for the country, but there's going to be, you don't get to this point and you can't fix things without hurting the people of this country. But we've kind of lost sight of what is important in this country and what this country really was all about. We've kind of lost sight of that. We're trying to get some of it back, but I'm really not sure if it's a lot of it is just the same thing as we see after 9/11. A bunch of a lot of the general populace out there just waving flags to wave. I don't know, but
to use a phrase that's going around now, but in a different way. Until America gets on its knees, we're not going to see it turn around.
No, absolutely.
And like you said, we've got to go back to some kind of a standard, the gold and silver standard with our currency. And until that happens, and even if it were to happen, you'd told me a couple of years ago, even if it happened, it's not going to change overnight. You just can't do it. And there are those that say it is going to happen. I don't know about that, but it's There's going to be sacrifices. The American people
Absolutely.
There's going to be sacrifices for all of us to make. And, I just don't know how many Americans are willing to make a sacrifice. Are they willing to sacrifice, the old Greek proverb, and let me see if I can say it correctly. Society is great when old men plant trees whose shade they will not enjoy. Our founding fathers basically planted the tree of liberty, and they never really got to enjoy that liberty. Many of them didn't. Many of them that signed the Declaration of Independence died in that battle. They died in that fight. Or their families, they lost everything. They pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honors. Many of them lost their lives. Most of them lost their fortunes, but not a one of them gave up that sacred honor. Do we see sacred honor in D.C. these days? In the elected officials across your way, whether it's in Pennsylvania, whether it's in Maryland, whether it's in Missouri, Illinois, Kansas, do we see integrity and men of honor or women of honor that will stand up and do the right thing regardless? No, we see manipulation. Not that the Founding Fathers didn't do some manipulating with things, but they stood by their word. Now, in the Iran deal, it's a deal. What kind of a word did we put behind it? I think it's good that Congress is going to look at it. I think that should have happened a long time ago. Whether they change it or not, I don't know, or whether they should. I don't know. But don't you just long for the integrity of our elected officials? We need statesmen instead of career politicians, and what we've got is career politicians working on their careers. They're not working on fixing America or making America great again, or concerned with their representation of we the people. They're concerned about their careers, and that's what they're working on. And just like Van Jones and his comment, like I said, it's like shuffling a deck of cards. These people keep coming up, and they're in our face all the time. I was mentioning Dana Perino, and, sometimes she says stuff I agree with, sometimes she doesn't. Most of the time, I take what she says with a grain of salt, and I do that now because of her comment before the election. She didn't like President Donald Trump, and it was before he was even won the primary for the Republican Party. She wasn't going to vote if that was the case because she didn't like any of the candidates. And she's up there telling us, she's an analyst telling us this politically and that politically, and that's her attitude was, I probably won't vote. And that disturbed me. Why would we trust somebody's opinion who isn't willing to get out and do something? She's made her life in politics. Not in making America great again, but in politics. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at with what we deal with these career politicians? Even though she's not been an elected official, isn't she just still a career politician? She's in our face telling us what we should think or do or what this means or that means, and then she says, well, I don't really I probably won't vote. It upset me. It really did upset me.
The media, they're not journalists, they're analysts, and they analyze. They don't report the news, they analyze. And, that's why I don't listen to any of them, because I really don't care what they analyze. I read the news, and I form my own opinion. And here we are on a talk show giving our opinion. So, but it's all based on the news first. But they don't even bother doing that. And
plus, we're opening up the lines for the American people to have a voice.
Yes,
we do that as well. And if you're not going to go somewhere real quick, I want to do one more thing.
I just wanted to finish up with the fact that what that gentleman had said that Trump is hurting people. Well, again, fixing this country, we have $20 trillion plus in debt. There's no magic pill to turn that around. We're going to get deeper and deeper and deeper in debt until the system collapses on its own. And you try to fix it, it's still going to collapse. But I think we have a president that when it collapses, we'll be able to make the correct decisions in perhaps fixing our monetary policy so that some of these other things can get fixed. And that doesn't mean we won't have a difficult time, So, again, just because we think we have someone in office that's going to fix things and, perhaps, and make America first, we have a difficult road to travel. And that's why you still need to be prepared, because I think we'll still experience the same thing.
And going back to what Joe said, we've got our foot in so many other people's front door. It's hard to make the correct decisions here at this time because we're so involved in all these foreign affairs. We've got our nose in everybody else's business, and then we want them to keep it out of ours. It's kind of a double standard. But yeah, you're absolutely right, I believe, Melody, that it's going to take, and sometimes it takes a tragedy to get real change. Mm-hmm. And it does take sacrifice. That was I don't know if you've ever done any studies, the biblical study of Henry Blackaby on experiencing God. And that was one thing that he said: before there's change, something drastic has to happen. Mm-hmm. We will have to have that collapse before it's going to change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And will we be ready for it? That's the big question. Will we be ready for it? Because it's tough when you're at the bottom to try and get ready for a collapse like this. It's all going to fall in on you, but everybody else is going to tumble too. Anyway, I hear music. We're going into a break. Your calls are welcome at 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218. You're listening to Power Talks with Melody and Beth Ann in the morning, and we will be right back.
The Civil War did not end slavery, but it did put over 8 million black...
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it: to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening. Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
Hey, this is my...
And we have returned. You're listening to Power Talks with Beth Ann and Melody Cedarstrom in the morning, and it is a Monday morning, and I want to prove that I was paying attention earlier. I got scolded because I did go ooh shiny and was looking at something else whenever Melody was giving her special. This is the special for discount gold and silver today, and it's a 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle coin, $143. The number to call is 1-800-375-4188. That's 1-800-375-4188. How'd I do?
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I was writing it down. I had to redeem myself.
All right. You did okay. We have Arthur in Illinois calling us this morning. Good morning, Arthur.
Good morning, Arthur.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies. Good morning. I don't see any way out of this. I really don't.
No.
The bankers are running the world. The bankers are running the world.
Yep.
And until we do something about this Federal Reserve, they're going to keep us in debt till the end.
Yep.
You're right.
So
they're going to print till the cows come home.
Melody, I personally don't think precious metals going to save America either. Personally, I think it's time to go be with God is what I see. That's all I can see. Because when Gaddafi tried to set up a gold-backed currency bank, Obama and Hillary and NATO went over there and took them out. So, this is a very serious situation here. I really don't see a way out of this.
Precious metals aren't going to save America. Precious metals is going to save the individual from losing their savings. It's going to protect people's purchasing power. Now, whether we ever go back to a gold standard or not remains to be seen. But on the other hand, I do believe as far as global trade's not going away. It's not going away.
No, and we don't want it to go
And the
away.
biggest problem with global trade are the currencies. Because you have every country out there that's manipulating their currencies. I believe gold will be used in a trading basket with other currencies. I've said this for years and years and years, because what's the one item that'll stabilize the currencies? It's not going to be trade agreements. It's not going to be, you can't do this and you only have this range to, countries are going to manipulate their currencies as long as they're all fiat. So if you put gold in there, and I don't think it'll be 100%, it could be 10%, it could be 15, 5, I don't know what the percentage is. And I don't know how, which countries would be involved and so forth. But gold would stabilize these countries from manipulating their currencies. Now, if we have a nuclear war, who knows what's going to come up from the ashes? It could be a gold standard. It could, maybe global trade would be wiped off the face of the earth. I don't know, because nobody else does either. But I do believe gold, silver today is what's important, is helping people protect their savings from a fiat currency, because they're going to lose 50, 60, 70% or more of the value that they currently have. So, it's up to the people. So,
well, what scares me, Melody and Beth, is this military-industrial complex. I still, and a lot of us believe, a lot of scientists are saying this, a lot of pastors are saying this. We feel, and I feel the same thing, that the military is going to knock the power grids out, and they're going to blame it on some political enemy, is what I suspect. That scares me, because a lot of people are on machinery and hospitals, and how long are the diesel generators going to keep them alive? This is going to get real stupid. Food's going to rot because all the coolers will go down. This is a serious thing here. This is the biggest threat to America right now.
Well, you know, there's a lot of serious threats, and you're right. With all the hacking that's going on, we already know that. I read an article last week. We talked about it on the 4 p.m. On the 4 p.m. Eastern program, that there was hacking into some of the smaller power companies here in the U.S. and so forth. And the warning was, oh, don't worry about it. These are just small little companies, you know, that you know, in rural areas that wouldn't be. Well, there's no way they could hack into, you know, these big. You know, power grids and so forth. Well, I agree with you. That's hogwash.
Right.
I agree with you. But in the meantime, if people have all their money in their banks, if people do all their banking online, how is they have the risk of losing everything?
It's all electronic, right? That's all run by the power grids. And all the smart meters on all the homes were militarized. I heard through the grapevine that there was a neighborhood out in San Francisco that the military purposely burned down with these meters as an experiment. Now, I understand these meters are illegal because of a violation of the Fourth Amendment. They relinquish our national security because they can be tampered with a computer anywhere in the world. Right. That's what's scary about it.
Well, you know what? I came home. I had gone to the post office one day. It was lunchtime. And I was running home to take care of my little doggie, and the power company was there. And I said, what are you doing here? And they said, oh, we're here to switch out for your smart meter. And it says, well, I don't want it. I had to sign a opt-out form, and they actually charged me $20 extra a month in order for me.
Guess what? They don't do that to me. I'll tell you why. Because when they came here, the lady came over here and stole your smart. I said, the heck you are. I said, you should come up my property and I'll sue you for the violation of the Fourth Amendment. She said, okay, have a nice day. And I called the power company. I said, you know, you guys are in violation of national security here. I said, and you guys are radiating us with 2.2 gigahertz of gamma radiation. The dogs are getting blinded when they sleep under them. Joyce Lively had a lady on there, Laura Presley, they talked about this. And, yeah, these meters are not only dangerous, you know, in terms of cancer causing, but they're illegal only around. And the military did this to us, just like the bankers are following them.
And not only that, the argument they have is that it'll save you money. Canada, two of their largest power companies, they were one of the biggest power companies in Canada, were the leaders in getting smart meters installed in Canada. They're pulling them out because they says the paperwork is a nightmare because the billing is all wrong, their people are getting charged more, and so they're pulling them out.
Check this out, Mallory. Before they put the meter in and charge you the $20, how much were they charging for your meter reading before? It was like $5, right?
Oh, I don't know, but
listen. Call your power company and say, hey, look, I know a guy in Chicago, which is telling me. When I told him I don't want that meter, they don't charge me any more than $5 meter reading because I called them. I said, you charge me over that, I'm going to sue you because what do you get off multiplying it 4 times just because I won't take your meter? And they didn't do it. Now they only charge me the usual amount, the regular, $5. Yeah. So if you call your power company, tell them, wait a minute, you're only charging me $4 or $5 now. I'm going to went 4 times just because I don't want your dangerous meter. That's illegal. See what they say.
All right, we'll do that.
Right. All right, ladies, I'll let you go, man. A very interesting show. You guys are the best, man. I listen to every chance I get.
Thank you, Arthur.
Thank you, Arthur. Well, we're just about out of time. The day has gone really fast. The morning has gone really fast.
Yeah, those smart meters are dangerous, and they use the argument, oh, it'll save you money. Well, it's just the opposite, and that's why the Canadian firms are pulling them off, though, replacing them because they've had cost them so much more money because of all the errors in the billing. And I asked my guy, I says, well, how many have actually opted out? He says, I think you're the only one. So he says, there might have been one other house that did. He says, but I think you're the only one that has opted out. And
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yes, it is. So,
well, but a lot of people don't know.
A lot of people don't know.
They just simply don't know. I won't say that I know a lot of things, but they simply don't know about that.
And the power companies just come in and do it. And if I hadn't, come home at that time, They might have just already replaced it. So, So anyway, gold and silver, folks, is a great way to preserve yourself through the difficult times financially. Protect your savings, and it's also there for your savings account and your checking account. Gold is your savings, silver is your checking account, and it is important to have, regardless of stock markets hitting all-time highs, pressure in gold being manipulated. It's all going to come. Reality strikes, and God bless Mr. Trump for trying to at least bring attention to these problems, but we still face, difficult times.
I want to also say on Mondays is when you have you update your newsletter on the website. Is that correct?
Yes.
So we need to give the website out. It's dgscoins.com. That's dgscoins.com. Give her a call. Get the special, the 1/10 ounce American Golden Eagle for $143 at 1-800-375-4188. And if you continue to tune in on shortwave and turn the dial over, you're going to hear CSC Talk Radio. And we'll be back. Melody and Beth Ann will be back with you tomorrow morning.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.